Hello, this is Chris from the Cinema Savvy Movie Podcast, back with a bunch of new reaction videos today, and oh my god, what a day it is for trailers. There has been some major ones go up. We've got this one, which I'm reacting to right now, which is the Spider-Man Homecoming official trailer 1. We've got War for the Planet of the Apes, we've got a brand new Assassin's Creed trailer. It's been crazy for trailers this week, but this one is probably the one I'm most intrigued by and the one I'm most looking forward to. Let me talk about Spider-Man for a bit. I don't think I've ever really talked about the character on here before, but Spider-Man always was one of my favourite heroes. In fact, he used to be my favourite, believe it or not. Batman is now, and although I liked Batman as a kid, Spider-Man was always on top for me. The Sam Raimi films I absolutely loved. I even like 3. I understand completely why people dislike 3. I'm right there with you with Venom and the Sandman killing Uncle Ben, like all that stuff, the dancing down the street to a James Brown song. I get it, believe me, I do. However, I still find that an immensely entertaining film, and I love what Sam Raimi did for the superhero genre in bringing Spider-Man to life on the screen, and it was fantastic. And then we fast forward to The Amazing Spider-Man and The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which weren't so amazing, and in fact I kind of hate those films. I thought Andrew Garfield was great, and I thought that Emma Stone was phenomenal as always. I think she's a brilliant actress. But those films really didn't inspire me the way that the Sam Raimi ones did, or generate that sense of wonder and awe when Spider-Man came swinging in. It really didn't do anything for me, and although they wanted to build like a whole franchise off Amazing Spider-Man 2 with a Black Cat movie and Sinister Six spin-off film, it all kind of fell apart. So fast forward where Sony strike a deal up with Marvel, which was absolutely unheard of. I couldn't believe that this even came about. And we get Captain America Civil War, where Spider-Man kind of gets this whole extended cameo in the movie. The film does kind of grind to a halt where it introduces Spider-Man, but I remember seeing Captain America Civil War for the first time in the cinema, and it wasn't like tears, but it was kind of surreal, but amazingly so, to see Spider-Man alongside Iron Man and Captain America. And I mean, it would be fantastic if we could eventually get the X-Men and a new rebooted Fantastic Four coming into the films as well. But I will take Spider-Man. He's a great addition to the Marvel Universe. And this is his first new outing under the guidance of Marvel. So Spider-Man Homecoming, this trailer went up earlier this morning. This is the first chance I've had to react to it. And I'm kind of building the hype up in myself right now. That's why I'm not immediately clicking the trailer. But I love what I saw of Spider-Man in Civil War. I thought Tom Holland was great, and it's going to bring a new style to Peter Parker that we haven't seen before. In terms of the actual Spider-Man costume, I hope it's slightly less CGI looking than the one in Civil War. I would like a practical costume that he wears in close-ups, and then in the swinging sections he can have the CGI one. But anyway, I'm rambling on enough. Let's get to this trailer. I can't wait to see this. I can't believe we're getting a new Spider-Man movie. Hopefully this brings him back to the forefront, but I'm going to click play now.
This is my chance to prove myself.
Okay, let's do this. Are we gonna get Uncle Ben's murder again in a flashback? Shocker. Or is that that's Iron Man?
Wait a minute. You guys aren't the real Avengers. I can tell Hulk gives it away.
Bringing the wisecracking back into it. Bit like Deadpool though now after the fact.
Is Liz the new top?
No, you've seen that before.
So I think
that skirt.
I think that's our new Mary Jane.
It's creepy though.
Too late. You guys are losers.
So to become an Avenger, are there like trials or an interview?
Just don't
Tony
do anything
Stark
I
noise.
would do. And definitely don't do anything I wouldn't do. There's a little gray area in there, and that's where you operate.
Oh.
All right?
That's not a hug. I'm just grabbing the gift for you. All right, kid. Good luck out there.
You know that Tony's just, you know, talking to Peter to get close to his aunt.
Peter, you still with us? Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I know you want to save the world, but you're not ready yet.
You're the Spider-Man.
No, I'm not. I'm not. This is just a costume.
He's terrible at giving. He's terrible at keeping his identity a secret, isn't he? He really is.
And stay out of trouble.
Vulture! Oh my god! Oh, the costume looks
You're the
amazing.
flying monster guy. There are people who handle this.
Michael Keaton.
You've been treating me like a kid all the time.
But you are a kid.
This is my chance to prove myself.
Let me see Keaton.
What is going on with you?
Oh, he's got the webbing underneath the armpits. That's new?
Because I will kill you and everybody you love.
Oh, Keaton doing his Beetlejuice voice. We've come for your daughter, Chuck. Oh, I love the font. And I'm okay. Wow. Clearly they didn't think that Spider-Man could carry this movie on his own, so let's throw Iron Man into it. I'm completely fine with that, in all honesty. I would like to go back to the days sometimes of standalone superhero films, kind of like how Ant-Man was, or Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought that was a really cool standalone film. Even to some extent Doctor Strange as well. And I was hoping for the same with Spider-Man, but I guess it makes sense in having Tony Stark come back into it because he was almost like a father figure to him for a brief period in Civil War, and all the banter between him and Aunt May was amazing. We don't get any Marissa Tomei in this trailer, unfortunately. She is a beautiful, beautiful woman, but I'm sure they're going to play up that dynamic even more in this. And I mean, if people were wary to go and see another Spider-Man film following the previous two, throwing Iron Man in there is going to get asses in seats. It really is. And actually, it kind of makes sense. I mean, I would love to see Spider-Man take on Vulture on his own. But what I think this movie's going to do is, and I think the title's very clever, Homecoming. It's almost like Marvel is getting Spider-Man back. He's home. He has come home. I think the title's brilliant for the film. I was kind of iffy on it at first, but I've grew to like it now. But what I think this movie's going to do is, and I think the trailer basically said this too, is that, you know, he's trying to be a hero, but he's not quite there yet. So I think this movie is going to be testing Spider-Man and bringing him up to that hero status. So by the end of the movie, when we get the next Spider-Man movie, he is going to be a fully fledged hero. And I can't remember how long he said that he'd been operating as Spider-Man in New York City when we meet him in Civil War. I think he only says like a couple of months or something like that. He had a few viral videos on the internet, but nothing concrete. The one big thing I want to know, and I don't think it will be in this movie, they might save it for the sequel, is he going to be working for the Daily Bugle? And if he is, the big question is, of course, who's going to replace J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson? And I don't think you can. And I think Amazing Spider-Man basically answered that for us as well, where they avoided the entire Daily Bugle storyline. That was perfect. He's irreplaceable. J.K. Simmons was great in that role, so I don't know if this movie's going to delve into that at all. But it looks like they've captured the spirit of Spider-Man from the comics. Now, I'm not going to get into a heated debate on the casting of Mary Jane at all. You know, if Marvel have auditioned thousands of actresses and she's the best for the role, then I'm completely fine with it. If she embodies the same qualities of the character, I don't have a problem with it. However, you can't help but question the motive behind it. If she's great as Mary Jane, then I'm fine with that. The one thing how I am with comic book movies is that I like the characters on screen to be as close to they are on the page as possible. That goes for actors and race and costume, just the whole picture. I love to see comic book movies come to life. And how we know and how we've come to expect Mary Jane as the fiery and flirty pale girl with the red hair, that's how I know Mary Jane. So seeing something different to that takes a little bit of getting used to, I'm not going to lie. But I will give her a chance, and if she's great as Mary Jane, then I will say that in my review. But I'm just loving the look of this movie. I really am. Taking it back to his days at high school as well is very interesting. Now, if there are any Spider-Man comic book readers on here, I was told today by one of my friends that the whole stuff with Spider-Man at school or at college or whatever, it makes up a very small percentage of his overall story, and there are a lot of stories after he leaves college. So because they've casted younger for Peter Parker this time, they'll probably keep him in college for the next couple of movies, at least the next two. But I'm interested by it, and it's nice because if this movie is sort of Spider-Man going from zero to hero, that's an interesting story. That's a compelling story. It's a heartfelt story, and he's a likeable guy. We saw that in Civil War. Tom Holland brings a real good, likeable quality to him. He's dropping the quips in there. He's got the humour down. We saw that in the big fight scene at the airport, and it was amazing seeing Spider-Man do all that action. His suit's got an upgrade now. We expected that too. And it's just nice that Marvel essentially have Spider-Man back now. I know that Sony retain creative control on it, but let's just be honest, they fled to Marvel with their tail between their legs after the failure of Amazing Spider-Man 2 and were like, Marvel, okay, can you help us out, please? And they're setting it up nicely. I'm sure that he's going to be in Infinity War as well. so happy days for Spider-Man. Now, I don't think it will top the Raimi films, in my opinion. That's a very big nostalgic film for me, growing up with those films, being a lover of Spider-Man as it is. I don't think this movie is going to achieve those heights, but with Michael Keaton as the Vulture, I'm a huge Michael Keaton fan. That guy does not get enough work. He's an amazing actor. He's one of my favourite actors. He was the first superhero I ever saw as a kid. The first superhero movie I ever watched in my life was Batman 1989. And in my opinion, he's still the best live-action Batman we've ever had. I loved him in Spotlight and Birdman and Beetlejuice. He's done loads of other films too. He's great. And what's interesting about this, and this will kind of be what I close out on, when Sam Raimi was planning Spider-Man 4, which was originally going to happen, I think there was going to be 2 villains in there. I think they've released concept art for it. It was going to be the Vulture and Mysterio, and it was going to be Bruce Campbell as Mysterio, which is amazing. I love Bruce Campbell. I love The Evil Dead and Ash vs. Evil Dead. But I think that fell through. I thought they thought it would be a bit too weird, it'd be too out there. And the studio just didn't want the Vulture. Sony were like, we don't want the Vulture. He's a stupid character. And I think that in Spider-Man 5, if that would have got made, he was going to have the Lizard, and then Spider-Man 6 was going to be the Sinister Six, bringing back all the villains that had been in it before, which would have been incredible, especially under Sam Raimi, because he's been on record and said that the Sinister Six stuff was his favourite. And the studio were like, no, you know, you're fired, we're bringing in a new director. And then the first villain they do for their rebooted franchise is the Lizard. And then that goes to shit with Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then this gets rebooted now, and the first villain they do is the Vulture. So it's all come full circle, and although I would love to have seen Sam Raimi continue that series, because I do think it did have a lot of heart to it still, this looks like it's going to do exactly the same, but for a new generation. And I can't wait to see another Spider-Man film on the big screen again, and hopefully this one is better than the previous 2 we've had. So I've rambled on long enough on this one, so that'll do for my reaction to the Spider-Man Homecoming official trailer 1. Be sure to comment, subscribe, let me know what you thought of this trailer, any of the other Spider-Man films, any knowledge you could throw my way on the Spider-Man comic books. For example, I know that Shocker's going to be in this movie, probably won't have a big part. I hope they don't cram it full of villains like the mistakes have been made with Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3. But anything you'd like to drop me a comment on, please do so. In terms of what's coming up on the channel, we've got a lot more videos planned. We are officially in Star Wars month. Next week, Rogue One, a Star Wars story comes out. We've got midnight tickets booked. I can't wait for that, so we'll have our review on that, our live stream review, right after we've seen the movie. There'll be a new Battle of the Brackets episode out on Sunday. Loads more content. Please do hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to keep updated with all of our content. And that'll do it for my reaction onto this. Onto some more now with War of the Planet of the Apes. You can also check out my previous reaction I did, which was the new Transformers The Last Night, official trailer 1. Check that out, all that good stuff. Until the next video, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.